Yeah. The Scarlet Crusade's rise and embarrassing fall in Warcraft. I'm sure they'll bring them back again. They really are the cockroaches of WoW. They just don't stay away.
Can you not see it? Brothers and sisters, there is but one way to wipe the scourge from the face of Azeroth. The Scarlet Crusade offers you the protection that you so desperately desire.
One of the best dungeons ever designed in WoW, or 4 dungeons ever designed in WoW. The Scarlet Monastery. Fight me. That is one of the Scarlet Monastery is one of like the best designed dungeons between the original 4 wings that we used to have. It was so good. It was so freaking good. Like the revamp was nice, but I miss the 4 wings that it used to have, man. It was so cool. It felt like this, it felt like this big ass monastery that you were gonna have to, head out towards and whatnot, So good.
And if you pledge yourselves to us, surely we will reach our ultimate goal. Defy us, and you will be dispatched in a blaze of golden light, unlike any you have ever witnessed. The Scarlet Crusade is one of the more unique enemies you'll face while exploring Azeroth. On the outside, they might seem like your normal group of everyday paladins, but in truth, they are a vengeful group of fanatic worshippers of the light who destroy all who don't share their radical views. Their history is one of sympathetic origins, but the corruption and the inevitable downfall of their crusade was all because of the underlying deceit within the heart of their organization. First, a quick word from today's sponsor.
Okay.
Keeps. Look, dudes, because most of you are dudes. Did you know that 2 out of 3 dudes experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Well, thankfully, Keeps can help prevent those precious hairs from falling off your head with their FDA-approved medication for hair loss. The best thing about Keeps is you can get treated right from the comfort of your own home by signing up online and getting connected with a doctor who helps you in your mission to restore your luscious locks. And remember, it's important to act fast, as the sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you can save. If you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/platinum or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That is keeps.com/platinum.
I feel attacked.
Uh-huh.
I feel attacked.
The Third War has just concluded on Azeroth. The Kingdom of Lordaeron has been totally destroyed by the Scourge after the kingdom's prince, Arthas Menethil, betrayed his people and allied with the undead and killed his own father and his mentor Uther. The group of paladins called the Knights of the Silver Hand was disbanded, but these crusaders continue to fight to defend fortified settlements where survivors cling to life. One of these paladins was a mountain of a man named Scarlet Dathrohan, who was one of the original founders of the Knights of the Silver Hand. Dathrohan's significance is not because of his accomplishments, but because of his defeat. During an incursion into the burning city of Stratholme, Dathrohan was separated from his fellow paladins. He could cut down the undead with ease, but there was more than shambling zombies in this cursed city.
Know that I am Balnazar. Know that you are but a pawn in plans beyond your reckoning. You cannot fight my will. You are mine. You are out of your league, Paladin.
Scarlet Dathrohan had fallen right into the Dreadlord Balnazar's trap. The demonic mastermind's ultimate plan was to possess his body.
Back when the Dreadlords were so freaking cool, man.
And pull the strings behind the scenes and destroy them from within.
They were such cool villains. They were such cool villains.
Know that I will rip the soul from your flesh and make your body my own.
As Balnazar infiltrated their defenses, a paragon of light traveled from the west. High Lord Alexandros Mograine
Ashbringer
was one of the original founders of the Knights of the Silver Hand.
Yeah, Mograine was
Armed
badass.
with a holy artifact called the Ashbringer, the paladin could cleave entire armies of undead in twain and leave only ash in his wake. I cannot stress enough how much of a badass Mograine was.
Oh my god,
He was
yeah,
like
Alexandros
the
Mograine was like a
Master Chief
badass.
of paladins,
Yeah.
who was a beacon of light for the downtrodden people of Lordaeron. He became such a legend that he was simply referred to as the Ashbringer.
Yep.
The Ashbringer also had two sons. One was named Darian, who has the most anime haircut in all of Warcraft,
A little bit.
but more on him later. The other son was named Renault,
Ew.
who was taught the ways of the paladin under Satan Dathrohan.
This dick.
Over time, Satan Dathrohan, aka Balnazar, manipulated Renault. He preyed on his insecurities, knowing that he would always live in the shadow of his father. Renault is, and always will be, a lowly foot soldier, a simple follower, and not a leader like his father. But Satan offered him a proposition. If Renault was to kill his own father, he would be promoted to be a commanding officer in his order of paladins, and be granted the glory he justly deserved. Hey, I think you should kill your dad. Okay.
Wow, that was surprisingly easy.
Yeah.
Renault then lied to his father, telling him that his brother Darian was trapped within Stratholme and needed to be rescued. Alexandros Mograine and his advisor Fairbanks traveled to the burning city, only to be overwhelmed by Scourge forces.
Remember when you found Fairbanks in the hidden chamber of the final wing of the Scarlet Monastery? Yeah.
Come on, we gotta hurry up. We gotta find Darian. Come on, okay. No damage, yes. Go. Fairbanks. Fairbanks, what happened? I need heals. No, by the light, he DC'd.
He did.
We gotta just hurry up. We gotta climb this. Quick. This is just like
Oh my god.
Finding Nemo, except with all more zombies.
Jesus.
The High Lord fell to the ground, exhausted after obliterating every vile creature that stood in his wake. But it was at this moment that the High Lord's son delivered the ultimate betrayal.
Bitch.
This act of pure evil and resentment corrupted the Ashbringer, turning it into a weapon of hatred instead of retribution.
And he became the
Renault
leader of the
fled,
horsemen.
returning to the town of Hearthglen to tell everyone of the death of the Ashbringer.
And then Kel'Thuzad popped up and ooh, horsemen.
So there's the Ashbringer, and there's a bunch of zombies, and the zombies were like, "Bwah!" And the Ashbringer went, "Bwah!" And then there was an Abomination guy, and he went, "Bwah!" And then he went, and then the Ashbringer died. And yeah, that's what happened. Some of the paladins were quite skeptical, to say the least. Satan had been acting quite suspicious recently, and this tall tale didn't really seem to add up. It was you, Renault, that killed Alexandros. I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. The Ashbringer thrust right through your father's back. Whoa, Fairbanks, did you not see the puppet show? Clearly it was the... I know what I saw, you traitorous bastard! Fairbanks barging in and spilling this truth was the final straw for half of the Order of Paladins, and they left instantly. They went to go create a new order that wasn't led by such sketchy and fanatic leaders like Satan and Renault. The ones that stayed decided that they'd just quarantine Fairbanks, who is now deemed as unclean and insane. And by quarantine, I mean they executed him and threw him in a secret chamber in the Cathedral. From this point
and then
onwards,
he turned into a
the
zombie.
priests, paladins, and all other followers of the light separated themselves into two different organizations. The ones that really didn't trust Satan Dathrohan left and called themselves the Argent Dawn, led by Lord Maxwell Tyrosus. This organization is accepting of all outsiders, whether they be Horde.
I love the Argent Dawn. They were so cool, man. There weren't many of them, but it was like the first time like that I was exposed in World of Warcraft when I was playing through it the first time of, you know, a faction that was, you know, it was not, you know, it didn't matter if you were Alliance or Horde, you could join the Argent Dawn. And I can remember seeing them and be like, ooh, well, dude, I want to join the Argent Dawn and like, you know, play with players that are, you know, that are on Alliance races and Horde races together. And that was so long ago. And now they're finally doing like cross-faction raiding and dungeoning and stuff like that. You know, we're one step closer to cross-faction being a complete thing. Because it needs to happen, honestly.
Alliance or even Forsaken, and their main goal is to establish peace and destroy the Scourge. The other group is called the Scarlet Crusade, led by Satan Dathrohan. This organization is extremely against any outsiders, especially if they aren't humans.
For the Crusade!
Rather than establish peace, their main goal is to reclaim the ruined lands of Lordaeron once again and deliver retribution to the monsters that surround them. Satan made sure that he struck fear and paranoia into his followers, warning them that any outsiders could be unclean and could be secretly carrying the plague of undeath. Showing mercy to them would only pull them further away from their goal of eradicating all evil from Lordaeron.
Heathen!
Poor little gnome.
Now, clearly the Scarlet Crusade are not really good people, but let's look at this from their perspective. You are a citizen of Lordaeron who had your entire family killed by zombies and your life destroyed. A plague wiped through your whole kingdom that came from infected grain of all things. So I mean, how could you not be nervous about other ways the plague could be transferred? I mean, the enemy you're fighting also has
flying death fortresses.
So who knows what unholy tricks they might have up their sleeve. Also, keep in mind that some citizens were saved and converted into the Scarlet Crusade. And if we simply just look at the map in Classic, the Scarlet Crusade are the only ones getting shit done around here.
They did.
3 different fortified bases.
They did. They did. The Scarlet Crusade. They had a hell of a. They did a lot of work in Lordaeron and the Plague Lands. You know, pushing back the undead. They got some shit done. They're terrible people, but they got some shit done.
Well, there's Argent Dawn has a shitty camp.
Yes,
and
they
an even
did.
shittier rundown church. This isn't about being morally good for some members of the Scarlet Crusade. This is about survival. Also, their beloved capital city that was a deeply religious and known place of worship of the light
it was
taken over by zombies that look exactly like the ones that destroyed it in the first place. As a living human, how can you be okay with that? But also, from the Forsaken's perspective, who live in the capital city, they too are citizens of Lordaeron, who have retained all their memories from when they were alive, and are now treated as monsters, and this is the only place they really can live. This is what makes the Scarlet Crusade such an interesting villain and WoW. They are a group of people who, from their perspective, have pretty reasonable motivations to avenge their kingdom, but have been pushed and manipulated into paranoia and desperation.
Zealotry will do that to you.
Lose grasp of reality and turned into the villains on Azeroth.
Yep. They are compelling villains. They really are. God, I remember this dungeon. It was so good. This room was an ass to pull, though. Tanking this room was a pain in the ass. That room was a pain in the ass.
Origins of the Crusade. let's go through each expansion in WoW and learn how the Scarlet Crusade was ultimately defeated.
For now.
First, let's start with
They'll be back.
Classic and get to know the leaders of the Scarlet Monastery and their nefarious deeds.
Tell me everything.
Within the dark depths of the temple, Interrogator Vicious is known for unleashing his unrelenting sadism and cruel expertise against the enemies of the Crusade. During Classic, there's a quest that involves him stealing a wedding ring from one of his torture subjects and giving it to his own wife, which is just, oh, so incredibly evil.
Yeah, a little bit.
Interrogator Vicious also makes an appearance within the Brawlers Guild, and the announcer will yell, "Well, wrap me in leather and tug my leash, it's Dungeon Master Vicious." So, you can do with that information what you will.
Oh. Yikes.
Release the hounds!
Houndmaster Loxy trains his savage hounds of the Crusade to sniff out the unclean and hunt them down within the forests of Tirisfal Glades.
You will not defile
I remember you. Oh my god, his
Within the
robe.
library, head
Healers and casters wanted the robes of Doan so much. They were so good. They were so good.
Master Mage Arcanus Doan combs over his tomes and teaches the fellow mages of the Crusade on how to master the use of the arcane to destroy the undead.
Ah, I've been waiting for a real
Oh, this
challenge.
jackass.
Within the Hall of Champions, Herod is, I'll be honest, Herod is literally just a shirtless guy
Little
with
bit.
an axe who says,
Blades of light.
Blades
but
of
what's more
ass
interesting is the
is
room
what we
he's
used
in,
to say.
which is called the Hall of Champions.
But every warrior
Here
wanted
we
his
can
axe.
see a bunch of different statues of slain or missing members of the Crusade. What's confusing, though, is there are statues of elves and dwarves.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes against the whole ethos of the Crusade in the first place.
Little bit.
What's even funnier about this place is the names of the people and how uncreative they are.
Oh, that's right, they
we got
were.
Valia Twin
Yeah.
Blades. She's got 2 blades. We got Invar one arm.
Yep.
He's got 1 arm. We got Yana Bloodspear.
Oh my lord.
He's got a spear. We got... Oh, wait, hold on. Whoa, no.
Wrong game.
Universe. But one of the more interesting ones is Halia Sunshield, who's got a shield. But what's interesting about her is the plaque for the statue says that she died slaying a dreadlord named Belthras. And what's interesting is that this dreadlord named Belthras returned 13 years later in-game as a mob Gul'dan summons during the Nighthold raid in
He
Legion,
sure
which I thought was pretty neat.
does.
Anyways, back
Cool
to the
callback.
Scarlet Crusade. The leaders of the monastery are located within the cathedral. Renault was given what he was promised and was promoted to Scarlet Commander of the monastery and watches over it with Sally Whitemane.
Together we shall spread
Oh,
the Crusade's
there she
ideals
is.
across this land.
Now, I'd love to give you some backstory on who Lady Whitemane is, but she really doesn't have much of a backstory. Her family was all killed by the Scourge and she swears to avenge them, which is the same story that a lot of the members of the Crusade have. Despite this, she is easily the most iconic character from the organization because of her... qualities?
I mean... I mean... I mean... Yeah.
Of course, in-game, we go in and we kill all of these bosses, but that isn't what actually happens lore-wise. What actually happens is depicted in the Ashbringer comics.
That was a good one.
What happens is Darian Mograine, that anime guy I told you to
Is it funny that you recognize one of those artworks? No. Same.
remember, storms into Naxxramas with the Argent Dawn and kills his father Alexandros Mograine, whose body was resurrected by the Scourge and is now one of the 4 horsemen. Darien then takes the corrupted Ashbringer to the Scarlet Monastery, and the ghost of Alexandros Mograine decapitates his own son.
Oh my
Players can
god!
experience this from Darien's perspective when they obtain the corrupted Ashbringer in Classic and take it to the Scarlet Monastery Cathedral. So, lore-wise, Renault is the only guy to die, but everyone else is alive and well. The next expansion that involves the Scarlet Crusade is Wrath of the Lich King, and trust me, it isn't pretty. You see, there is a part of the Scarlet City Tier's Hand called the Scarlet Enclave.
This was such a freaking cool intro. This was so freaking cool, man.
Which was completely
It was long as hell, but it was cool.
untouched by the Scourge until now. The Lich King and his Death Knights invaded these lands in their
Flying Death Fortress.
and laid the city to waste. This is the starting experience for the Death Knights in Wrath of the Lich King, and during this questline, you slowly invade.
And I don't think you get to do this quest line anymore. If I'm not mistaken, I think this quest line has been taken out of the game. Which is, honestly, it's kind of a shame. Honestly, if I'm being for real. It's kind of a shame. You know? It's so iconic.
And ultimately wipe out the Scarlet Enclave of all of its members, and the starting zone has some of the most annoying
Could be wrong,
quests
though.
in the whole game. Like, you know that one where you have to auto-attack the Scarlet guys
This was a
with those
pain in the
pokers?
ass.
Remember that one? God, the
That was a
starting
pain in
zone
the ass.
sucked. But, as the Enclave is being invaded, High General Bridget Abendus, daughter of one of the original founders of the Scarlet Crusade, claimed to have a vision from the light itself. The vision told her that she should take her most devoted followers of the Crusade and journey to Northrend to continue their mission to purify all undead. Also, that is where the expansion takes place.
Yep.
This migration would be known as the Crimson Dawn, and it would revive the Crusade to new, glorious heights. The group of devoted followers were renamed to the Scarlet Onslaught and set sail for Northrend.
Yeah, how'd that turn out? Death Fortress.
In Northrend, they established
Thought it was still
multiple
available.
bases. The main
Yeah, I don't think
two
you can do it
being
on-
New Hearthglen.
It might still be available on. It might still be available on the original races. I could be wrong though. I know on the allied races it's not there, so I could be wrong. It might still be there for the old ones. I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
And the Onslaught Harbor. The Onslaught Harbor easily being one of the top 5 most underrated locations in all of WoW because of just so out of the way it is
It is
from everything
very out
else.
of the way.
The priest in me likes when you confess your sins, but the Inquisitor in me likes to punish you.
Commander! I see someone on the shore. What? Let me see. By the light, is that Admiral Westwind? On the shores of Northrend, Scarlet member Admiral Barian Westwind was found. He was the captain of a previous Scarlet ship that sailed to Northrend years ago and was presumed to be long dead. I mean, there's even a statue
that's
for him in
right.
the Hall of Champions back in the Scarlet Monastery. Admiral Westwind assured his fellow Crusaders that he was the only one to survive on the ship, and simply wanted to pledge himself to be an advisor for High General Abendus. Besides, he had been surviving in this hellish tundra for years, so surely he knew a thing or two about— Just kidding,
Yeah.
you son of a bitch. It was actually the Dreadlord Mal'Ganis.
I am Mal'Ganis. I am eternal.
So the Scarlet Onslaught was deceived for a second time by a Dreadlord.
Damn it. Damn it. Oh my god. I am a turtle.
Dreadlord Mal'Ganis!
I am Mal'Ganis. I am eternal.
So the Scarlet Onslaught was deceived for a second time by a Dreadlord. And Mal'Ganis manipulated his way up the ranks. But the real reason for the Scarlet Onslaught's involvement in Northrend ultimately being a failure was because of the overwhelming might of Horde and Alliance player characters.
I've found that without proper guidance, crusades quickly become onslaughts.
Oh my god.
Okay, so let's jump to Cataclysm, where it's more of the same story. The Argent Dawn back in the Plague Lands made the best strategic decision of their life, and they allied with the player character.
Yep.
Hearthglen was taken over by the Argent Dawn, and Tyr's Hand was still left in ruins after the invasion of the Death Knights. Also, Balnazzar was defeated within Stratholme, leaving the Scarlet Monastery as the Crusade's last bastion of hope. During the Cataclysm, they revamped a lot of dungeon quests by putting the quest givers at the start of the dungeon.
For better or for worse. For better or for worse, they did revamp a lot of the dungeons in Cataclysm. I thought some of the revamps were fine. I thought some of them were fine. There were a few that I was like, oh man, dadgummit. Cataclysm was fine. Yeah, for the most part, Cataclysm was fine.
And the quest giver for the Scarlet Monastery wings is one of my new favorite characters. It's Joseph the Awakened.
I remember this
You
guy.
see, Joseph is a part of a group called the Scarlet Renegades, a group who have realized the error of their crusades' ways
I remember this
and
guy.
are attempting to overthrow their rulers. Why not just join the Argent Dawn? I don't know. I guess they think they just really look good in red. Anyways, Joseph seems to be having problems of his own. As the further you progress through the dungeon, his name changes from Joseph the Awakened to Joseph the Crazed, and finally, Joseph the Insane, where he's found dancing in the fountain in the cathedral and has the best art of all time in the old World of Warcraft.
Yes, he does. I remember this, and I was like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Holy shit.
Warcraft trading card game. So during the Cataclysm, lore-wise, is when all of the bosses die, except for Sally Whitemane.
Why does everyone who comes to the Scarlet Monastery want to kill me? Am I out of touch? No, it is the heathens who are wrong.
And in Miss Pandaria, the Scarlet Monastery was revamped. Instead of 4 separate dungeons, it was combined into 2 dungeons instead. The most notable
I missed the
difference is
4.
that all of the bosses have been changed, but they're kind of just like off-brand versions of the original
A
bosses.
little bit.
That being
Yeah,
said, there are some
yeah. Look at
off-brand
that again.
versions of the original bosses.
Yeah. Yeah. The bosses were very unimaginative. There was like 1 or 2.
That being said, there are some interesting ones like Flame Weaver Kogler, who is so ashamed by the Scarlet Crusade's embarrassing history, he has taken it upon himself to scorch the library and destroy all evidence of their embarrassing
this.
past.
Everything must burn. None shall know the Scarlet Crusade's
shame.
shame.
Also, a lot of these new bosses have like really, really thick accents.
Ah, stupid animals! I'll put you down after I kill these weaklings! My fists are scarlet with your blood. If you die, you die.
To think you've come so far, only to perish here.
They did this. With Jandis Barav when they redid Scholomance. She had the Russian accent. Yeah, she had an accent. And that had never been in the game prior, or there was nothing really hinting that people from this area had an accent. I mean, I would believe it's no Russian, it's Irish. Oh, it's Irish, but it sounds a little bit like both. So I know that sounds terrible of me to say, me being a redhead, and I couldn't pick up on it. Hold on, let me finish it again before someone in the comments actually me's here.
You die.
To think you've come so...
Hold up.
down after I kill these weaklings. My fists are scarlet.
My fists are scarlet. It's not Irish. I was thinking Swedish. That doesn't sound Irish. Hold on. My fists are scarlet. That does not sound Irish. That does not sound Irish. John Buck, thank you for 18 months, man. Yeah, no, the enunciation of scarlet. That doesn't sound Irish to me.
With your blood.
With your blood.
If you die, you die.
If you die,
To
you
think
die.
you've come so far, only
Little
to
perish here. That doesn't sound Irish. I could be wrong and probably am.
Since I've always
It sounds like an American impersonating an Irish. You know what it sounds like? Ira, Russia, Swedenish.
been a weird
There
thing
we go.
in the Warcraft universe because there isn't really a place in the universe where humans live that have identifiable characteristics of heavy Russian or German accents. They kind of just have them because they sound cool. The final boss fight is still with Lady Whitemane and just some random dude named Commander Duran.
It sounds like I must break you, and the guy was meant to be Russian. There you go. You know what it is? Who cares?
We defeat them, and with the help from Lillian Voss, a complicated character I can maybe make a video about in the future, we make sure that Sally Whitemane stays dead forever. Okay, so in Legion, the Death Knights fight their way through the Scarlet Monastery and resurrect Sally Whitemane to be one of the Four Horsemen. And she's just, surprisingly okay with it after committing her entire life.
She's surprisingly okay with
to
it.
killing undead for some reason. And finally, the Scarlet Crusade had one small cameo in the Battle for Azeroth expansion. Near the Calston Estate in Tirisfal, there is a collection of pamphlets from a subgroup called the Scarlet Brotherhood.
Wait, what is this? Our beloved princess has been transformed into a corpse bride. The Menethil dynasty will yet endure. The Alpha King of Stormwind has betrayed us all. The mongrel king of Gilneas can be of use to us.
And are filled with insane ramblings and, Basically, the Scarlet Crusade have kind of just turned into conspiracy theorists. I'll spare you the details, but to sum all of the ramblings up, they think Anduin is an undead-loving traitor who is...
So this is where the Anduin and Sylvanas shipping comes from. And yes, there's artwork of it. If it exists. The Boy King conspired with the Banshee herself to arrange a meeting between the living and the dead under a false flag of truce. Traitor Rin seduced the Banshee into staging a fake massacre to lure out the good-hearted Princess Kalia. Then the Traitor King had our princess murdered. That was not the end of Anduin's foul scheme, no. He had his Banshee lover raise Kalia as a lich, practically spitting on the grave of good King Tyrannus. Why? Because the Traitor King is obsessed with the dead. He plans to marry Kalia and secure his right to the throne of Lordaeron. Oh, so basically they're claiming that Anduin likes undead. So yeah, this is where all the Anduin-Sylvanas shipping comes from.
He's secretly trying to use...
Sylvanas is hot as hell, so also Kalia.
Usurp control over Lordaeron by marrying Kalia Menethil. Also, the Scarlet Brotherhood plans to team up with Greymane and kill all of the undead, then kill Greymane. And lastly, the Brotherhood says that they have secretly been raising the son of Kalia Menethil, who will be the new king of Lordaeron.
She didn't have a son.
But Kalia has a daughter and not a son. So that can't even be true. In the Exploring Azeroth Eastern Kingdoms book, it is stated that the Crusade was totally wiped out in Legion, and this group called the Scarlet Brotherhood is the only remnant of the Crusade we have left. So the idea of the Scarlet Crusade ever returning in Warcraft's story is unlikely.
Yeah.
They have been constantly losing ever since World of Warcraft came out, and their leaders have either been killed or raised into undeath. But what remains are the memories of one of the most interesting and iconic factions in all of Warcraft.
The Silver Hand failed, Paladin. Join us. Take up the path of vengeance.
Yes, we get it. You're edgy. Congratulations. Can we move this along?
The hell? Good shit right there, man. Good shit. Yeah. Yeah, love me some good fun lore videos like that. But yeah, Scarlet Crusade, great faction within the lore to follow and whatnot along in their story. I've always loved the Scarlet Crusade story because it's like it is a tragic one, but you see what the effects of zealotry and fanaticism can bring, to people. Which given their circumstances, it's understandable. But then again, this is why you don't abandon reason for madness. So good shit. And they'll probably be back one more time because they are like cockroaches. They just don't stay dead.